Sometimes a legend doesn't walk onto the stage, he crashes onto it. The world loved mocking Wayne Rooney, long before it loved admitting how good he truly was.
Oh, and he's tried to bend it in as well.
That was a bit better skill, wasn't it?
Back in 2009, the tabloids treated him like a daily punchline. Cameras zoomed in on his stomach. Headlines called him fatty or bulky or out of shape, as if his body was more important than the goals he was tearing nets with every week. Every match he played, someone somewhere found a way to turn his physique into comedy. It wasn't analysis, it was bullying, pure, relentless humiliation dressed up as sports journalism. Yet behind all that noise lived a player who terrified defenders more than any dietitian ever could. Rooney's greatness wasn't quiet. It exploded. His talent didn't whisper, it roared. This was a kid who played like he had a personal vendetta against the world. Raw, fearless, chaotic. A street footballer wearing professional boots. He didn't fit the media's pretty boy mold, so they mocked him. But on the pitch, he made entire stadiums fall silent. Here's the crazy part. The persecution arrived before the peak, before the trophies, before the records, before the world finally admitted this boy wasn't just good, he was different, because England has always had a complicated relationship with its stars. And with Rooney, the tabloids went to war. Paparazzi stalked him more for his stomach than his stats. Stories twisted, headlines exaggerated, reputations built not on truth, but on angles and lighting. But while the media obsessed over his appearance, Rooney was busy becoming the most frightening teenage footballer England had ever produced. Which takes us straight into the part of his story that still doesn't feel real. The monster at 16. If destiny had a speed limit, Rooney broke it before he even had facial hair. His youth numbers looked like typos. 114 goals in 29 matches, numbers you expect in video games, not Liverpool's youth leagues. At 14, he wasn't just better than his age group. He was already too good for the U19. Imagine being a grown teenager and finding out the new kid you're training with is basically a child and he's destroying everyone. Even Thierry Henry couldn't believe it. Arsenal were a global superpower with an unbeaten squad, the Invincibles. And yet this fearless kid from Croxteth stepped onto the pitch against them like he'd been waiting for this moment his entire life. Then came that goal, that shot, that commentary line. Remember the name. The world was introduced to Wayne Rooney in a moment so iconic, the replay might as well be carved into football history. Off the pitch, he was still pure chaos, the good kind. Street football with his friends, showing up to glamorous award ceremonies chewing gum like he was late for school. He didn't care about image, branding, or PR. He cared about playing. Everton climbed to heights they hadn't touched in years, flirting with Champions League dreams. Clubs lined up with offers. Money spilled across the negotiation table. Rooney became one of the highest paid teens in the country. A contract so massive for someone so young that it made headlines everywhere. But England wasn't ready for what came next. Because in 2004, their teenage prodigy didn't just join the national team. He took over Euro 2004 like a supernova. Now watch how this unfolds. He became England's new hope overnight, the kid who tore defenses apart like they were made of cardboard. Lilian Thuram, one of the most respected defenders alive, looked genuinely stunned as Rooney bullied, twisted, and outran him. 4 goals, record-breaking performances, youngest ever achievements falling like dominoes. Commentators called him the new Pele. Fans believed it. Even players from rival nations admitted they'd never seen anything like him. Then came the heartbreak, the broken foot, the moment that silenced stadiums and crushed England's hopes. But even with that injury, Rooney made the team of the tournament, cementing his place as Europe's new wonder. And the media, instead of celebrating him, they doubled down on the harassment. The pressure grew. The tabloids got louder. The criticism sharpened. Yet none of it slowed what was coming, because nothing, not injuries, not tabloids, not scandals, could stop the biggest teenage transfer the world had ever seen. And this is where the story erupts. Real Madrid came calling. Ferguson fought. Bobby Robson fought. Everton panicked. Tabloids dug deeper than ever. Defamation cases flying around like sparks. Rooney refused a new contract. Negotiations turned into war. This was drama on a transfer market scale no teenager had ever caused. In the end, Manchester United dropped a number so huge the world paused. €37 million, the most expensive under-18 signing in football history. The pressure was insane. The expectations? Even worse. But on his Champions League debut, he didn't score one, he didn't score two. He scored a hat-trick on day one. A star wasn't born, a star detonated. From there, Rooney's rise became unstoppable. Ballon d'Or top 10 at just 18. Goals everywhere. Liverpool, City, Europe, anyone unlucky enough to stand in front of him. The BBC Goal of the Season, the Young Player of the Year award, his first trophy in the League Cup final. And just before the 2006 World Cup, Diego Maradona himself, Maradona, praised him like he was witnessing the rebirth of a football god. Rooney had arrived, not clean, not polished, not media approved, but powerful, chaotic, brilliant, the way only he could be. Part 2. The Fall. From World Cup nightmare to media hell, the cracks began to show right when the world thought Rooney was untouchable. A broken foot, rushed into the World Cup against doctor's orders, and suddenly the greatest teenage duo in the world started looking fragile. The infamous clash with Ricardo Carvalho, studs first, a split-second explosion of teenage fury, became the stuff of legend. Ronaldo, his own club teammate, running over to the referee, insisting on a red card, winking at the bench, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Rooney, in the public eye, wasn't the prodigy anymore. He was a hooligan, a man who couldn't keep his composure or his body intact. And the media didn't let up. Headlines screamed, cameras lurked, whispers became accusations. Every small misstep was magnified, every night out or indulgence blown into a scandal. Rooney admitted to sinking into 2-day drinking binges just to escape the pressure. Yet, somehow, in the chaos, he kept producing. A hat-trick against Bolton reminded the world why they had feared underestimating him in the first place. He clawed back to match Ronaldo's goal contributions, but even then, CR7's shadow loomed larger. Every Champions League round, every match, Ronaldo had an answer, a freak goal, a new highlight reel. Rooney felt it all. The constant comparisons, the accolades snatched from his grasp, the feeling that he was always playing second fiddle. Injuries piled up like an avalanche. Another broken foot. An ankle that refused to cooperate. A virus keeping him sidelined for months. Even his honeymoon was scrutinized. Tabloids snapping him smoking, painting him as reckless. Every public appearance, every off-field choice became evidence against him. And through it all, Ronaldo's exit to Real Madrid only amplified the pressure. Rooney was supposed to take the mantle, lead United, fill the void, but the world wasn't ready to let him breathe. By 2009, the media had reached new lows. They called him Shrek, Captain Fatso, a national punching bag for pundits and commentators. Everyone had an opinion about what Rooney could or couldn't do. Critics openly doubted his courage to steer Manchester United, to lead a team through the chaos left by Ronaldo's departure. But Rooney, in true defiant fashion, responded on the pitch. Around Christmas, he went on an 11-game scoring spree. A calculated statement that reminded everyone he was still a predator. 4 goals against Hull, a last-minute winner against City, headers flying in from 5'9". He was back, roaring louder than ever. 2 goals against AC Milan, 2 more against West Ham. A decisive strike in the League Cup final. Rooney was rewriting the narrative 1 goal at a time. Transfer turmoil and the slow fade. Then came the injury that shook him and United to the core. Against Bayern in the Champions League, Rooney limped off, leaving the dream of a treble dangling by a thread. United lost on away goals. Points slipped. The Premier League title was snatched by Chelsea. Even the PFA Player of the Year couldn't soothe the sting. A World Cup year, playing second fiddle to Jermaine Defoe, and a public media scandal regarding off-field indiscretions compounded the heartbreak. His wife pregnant, his reputation under fire, Rooney was drowning in scrutiny. Amid this chaos, he demanded a transfer. Predicting United's decline under the Glazers, rumours of joining Manchester City fueled pandemonium. Sir Alex Ferguson, legendary as ever, pleaded, reasoned, cajoled. 4 days later, Rooney signed a new 5-year deal. But as Ferguson himself later admitted, there was a residue of mistrust that lingered. That mistrust coloured every move thereafter. Injuries continued to stunt his rhythm. Forced into second striker duties behind Dimitar Berbatov, Rooney's open play goals vanished. No Ballon d'Or nod, despite 9 assists in 15 starts. Yet, the bicycle kick magic and consistent Champions League performances reminded fans that the spark was still there. Even in moments of brilliance, heartbreak struck, losing 8-2 to Arsenal. Top 5 Ballon d'Or finish. The agonising title loss to Aguero in the final minute. Old Trafford fell silent, and Rooney's spirit fractured. Euro 2012 offered no redemption. Van Persie eclipsed him at United. David Moyes' era was turbulent, and rumours of another transfer request surfaced, only to end with him staying and watching the team flounder. The final chapters of this fall were brutal, yet humbling. A slow shift into midfield, waning pace, Mourinho benching him, Europa League final cameo. His playing career began to feel like a sunset. A brief return to Everton provided moments of nostalgia and brilliance, even earning a national team recall under Southgate. Then came 2 years in MLS, a late career renaissance with jaw-dropping goals, before he finally hung up his boots at Derby County. Rooney left the pitch as the Premier League's second highest goal scorer, its third highest assist provider, yet there remained the undeniable feeling that, despite all his achievements, he could have gone even further. Part 3. The Rise Again. From Derby to DC, Wayne Rooney's story didn't end when he hung up his boots. In fact, that was just the beginning of a new kind of challenge, one that required brains over brawn, strategy over sprinting, and patience over passion. Enter Derby County, a club teetering on the edge of disaster, financial ruin, points deductions, and a roster barely capable of competing. Everything Rooney had learned as a player now had to be applied in full throttle as a manager. And man, he almost pulled off the impossible. Despite chaos swirling around him, despite fans and pundits writing the club off, Rooney steadied the ship. Tactical adjustments, motivational mantras, and an unrelenting desire to survive saw Derby nearly escape relegation, earning him newfound respect as a leader and coach. Suddenly, Wayne Rooney, the coach, wasn't a punchline anymore. He was someone to be reckoned with. After Derby, the lure of a new challenge called across the Atlantic to the United States. DC United in MLS was a different beast altogether, a league with rules Rooney had to learn on the fly, a squad rebuilding from the ground up, and a culture unlike anything in England. Here, Rooney embraced discipline, demanding intensity in training, nurturing young talent, and instilling the kind of tactical structure he had admired in Sir Alex Ferguson's United. The results weren't always perfect. MLS is notoriously unforgiving, but the experience was invaluable. Rooney's reputation as a serious, strategic coach was cemented, and the world began to see that the prodigy, who once terrorized Premier League defenses, was now capable of teaching others how to do the same. Back in England, Rooney's journey back to English soil brought him to Birmingham City, a club hungry for a big name to rescue them. Expectations were sky high. Media scrutiny was brutal. Every decision, every lineup, every formation, under the microscope. And yet, the results were disastrous. The pressure cooker environment saw Rooney endure some of the harshest criticism of his managerial career. But here's the key. This wasn't failure. It was a masterclass in learning under fire. Every setback, every tactical misstep, every public blowback was a lesson in resilience, humility, and adaptation. Rooney was growing, evolving, preparing for a future that demanded he not only survive, but thrive. And that future is what makes Rooney's story so compelling. Clubs across England and beyond continue to see his potential as a long-term, project-driven coach. His managerial philosophy, born from years of triumph, heartbreak, and unrelenting work ethic, is evolving. He understands the nuances of building a team, shaping talent, and cultivating discipline, all while maintaining the fearless spirit that made him a legend on the pitch. In every sense, his journey mirrors his playing career. Chaotic, challenging, unpredictable, yet always moving forward. Rooney may have hung up his boots, but he hasn't hung up his ambition. Wayne Rooney's story is a reminder that brilliance isn't linear. There are peaks and valleys, moments of heartbreak and triumph, times of public scorn and personal victory. He rose as a teenage prodigy, fell under the weight of expectation, and rose again. This time as a coach shaping the next generation of footballers. The man who once terrified the world with his power, skill, and determination is now terrifying opponents in an entirely new way. Through strategy, vision, and leadership, his story is far from over. So, if there's one takeaway here, it's simple. Resilience isn't just surviving. It's coming back stronger, smarter, and hungrier than ever before. Wayne Rooney isn't done, and neither is his legend. If you loved watching Rooney's rollercoaster journey, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold football stories.